What up, y'all? Vince all back with another video. Ladies and gentlemen, the grift is on. And I have had it about up to here with all the damn grifting that happens on YouTube. Just so you can start gaining views. I blame YouTube algorithm on this because it turns content creators into sharks. How do you get views on your channel? Well, you have to be willing to be a turd burglar for one. That's worse than a shithead, by the way. A turd burglar is one that takes popular shit, then talks shit about the shit. You take trending topics, gossip, and you give an overview about it. If you want your channel to get political views, talk about Trump. You want your channel to get activist or human rights views, talk about police interactions. Once they get you hooked into their channel, then Pandora's box opens and you wonder, how the fuck did I get here? It was an attention grab on a hot subject that they sucked you in and then flipped the script on you. One of the largest grifts on YouTube, besides talking about Trump, the war in Gaza, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, is this Tiffany Henyard story from Dolton, Illinois. Just watch the algorithm, how it takes this video to the top of my views simply just from a title. I am creating this script on August 24th, 2024. And will probably record in a few days after I make the video edits. Then it's going to take me about 3 days to actually post the video after I do all the final editing. Out of my 300 plus videos, we can watch in somewhat real time the growth of this video simply because it's a hot topic and it's a title that is a trending topic and people are going to click. No, I'm not clickbait, but unfortunately you won't get an updated information about Tiffany Henyard from me. But what you will get is I'm going to distinguish the information-based channels to the straight-up grifters. And then there's Jedediah Brown. I know. It seems pretty hypocritical of me to grift from the subject, right? But technically, I'm grifting off of the grifters. Immoral behavior brought out by immoral situations can be considered moral. I'm just learning how to swim with the sharks, and if this subject gives me a little bit more eyesight on my channel, let the grift trolling begin. I've been following this situation in Dolton, Illinois for quite some time now, mainly because I'm from Northwest Indiana and Dolton is no more than 10 miles away. I used to work in the city of Chicago for a consulting firm who did a lot of business with local and state governments. I'm familiar with the RFP and RFQ process, and if you've been following the Dolton, Illinois story, the mayor has been outsourcing contracts without using the RFP and RFQ process. So this story has gained my attention for many different reasons, especially since I know firsthand how Illinois operates when it comes to business. When it comes to state and local government, a consulting firm literally must have contacts within the organization to possibly gain inside access to pursuing or gaining that RFP. By the way, RFP stands for Request for Proposal. Request for Proposals is a procurement process that all state and local governments go through so that people or businesses can bid on a contract without there being any type of interference from someone on the inside that wants to give the contract away to let's say their uncle has a construction company, and if you work within the city, hey, let's give my uncle this construction bid. All state and local city governments go through this request for proposal so that fair bidding can take take place. These practices of helping people who you know is a staple of Illinois business and politics. Whether the practice is frowned upon or not, it happens. On a personal level, I follow this story because it is an embarrassment, and some groups of people will try to isolate Tiffany Henyard and the people of Dolton as a reason certain groups of people cannot get ahead. It's a springboard subject that certain groups of people love to call out, as if Tiffany Henyard's personality would change or be any different if she were part of that other group. We need to stop looking at people's differences in appearance and beliefs and start looking at the people and their values. No matter who this type of behavior comes from, it needs to be halted and addressed. Tiffany Henyard has done nothing more than take a playbook from former leaders and made it her own. If you don't believe me, click on one of her many videos speaking, close your eyes for a second, forget that she's a female, and listen to her message. She will remind you of someone else just as outrageous. She just has a lot more hood in her language, but the style of speaking, it's the same. I, of course, like everyone else nowadays, I don't trust the news because I like objectivity. I don't want to hear one side, I want to hear all sides so I can make an informed decision. So of course, I tune into YouTube so I can watch many different perspectives. For those who don't know about Tiffany Henyard, she is the mayor of Dolton, who is basically running the small village into the ground.
Taste for travel. It's costing taxpayers a lot of money with few details about how it benefits the communities she serves. FBI agents arrived at Village Hall on Friday to serve subpoenas for the employment records of more than a dozen Dolton employees.
There's always a certain amount of corruption associated with the state of Illinois, and I'm not giving a pass about it, but it's been ingrained in Illinois' system ever since the mafia days, all because of Al Capone and the mafia and how Chicago operates. It's kind of still like the mafia style when it comes to business. You have to know someone that knows someone. Even then, Al Capone and the mafia did many of their deeds in secret. But the blatant corruption that Tiffany Henyard's administration shows is just outright bold and stupid. So stupid, it's one of the hottest topics on YouTube. The FBI has indicted part of her administration, and this is where the sharks have come in to feast. This story has caught the attention of all the local news networks. TYT has reported on this, and Tiffany Henyard has even did an interview with Roland Martin, which he completely effed up. He had his opportunity to hold her to the fire, and he gave her the most softball interview I have ever seen a journalist do. Gave her no pushbacks on the questionable practices or her answers that she said while she was right there in front of him. Now he covers this like a blanket because he allowed her to be on his platform and just flat out lie. At first, I was following a lot of different channels when it came to this story, but then I slowly started to narrow what type of information I wanted. I'm sitting there listening to a content creator speak, and I'm either listening or I'm turned off. Many times I got turned off simply because they kept interjecting their own personal opinions when they were not needed, unwarranted, or just wrong. Then I became turned off from those who just wanted to report on the black community from a negative lens. I emailed one of the content creators to ask, do they cover other subjects beside negative black stereotypes? Because I was noticing a pattern, and it was kind of getting fed up with all the extra unnecessary commentary with the subtle racial undertones. Started watching some of their other content and realized these people are exactly who they are. There's one content creator so bold he will tell you in his video he is grifting. This dude lives in California, probably never been to Illinois in his life, couldn't find Dolton on the map prior to all of this coverage. I'm not trying to knock anyone's hustle, but damn, don't you have enough shit to cover in California? I've also ran into the educated content creators who love to give their analysis on Tiffany Henyard's saga. They cover it from the lens of a higher class looking down on the lower class, most likely never been part of the urban lifestyle but can speak on it like it's a subject in a book. If you refute what they say in the comments, then they'll either delete your comments or go in on your comment and then delete your rebuttal so they can always be right or have the last words. These are the content creators that irk me the most. Those who just want to accentuate negative stereotypes. I call them run-tell-dats because they love to sit on a high ledge so that they can get a bird's eye view simply to point out how much shit is on the other side, all the while ignoring the fact that the high vantage point that they're perched on is the same amount of shit that they're trying to point out on the other side. The irony. You can spot the run-tell-dats from a mile away with your eyes closed. They love to preface or end a statement with, "You know how black people are." Or they'll make a mockery, any ebonics of the person that's speaking. They said that. Yeah. You get sucked in because you're interested in a certain subject, and next thing you know, you're listening to some views and some values that you don't even remotely agree with. It was a grift. They got you just like they got me. I view problems in two ways. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Well, I'm here to solve that, because if you follow this video, I'll let you decide for yourself who is who. The 4 channels I watch for good content on this drama with Dolton: Hannibal is Hungry, News for Reasonable People, Journal, Dolton Trustees, and Nate the Lawyer. Hannibal is Hungry is very good with his breakdowns. He did a breakdown so well one time. It showed how Tiffany Henyard was possibly able to get away with all the corruption practices for so long. It was very comprehensive. The other channels give a business perspective or give a legal perspective, which is always good. If you want opinionated commentary, then go to Shawanda Burns. Essie Michonne. In all fairness, Ms. Burns seems to know her business, so it's good to hear from another business perspective. But she does give a lot of her opinionated commentary as well. If you want a roasting session, then go to J9 Eve or Cooking with Frank. The Run-Tell-Dats, Soldiers of Finance, Go Political, or O'Shea Do Jackson. Then there is Jedediah Brown. Jedediah has taken the 6th law of the 48 laws of power and flipped it on its head. Twice. Okay? Law 6 of the 48 laws of power: court attention at all costs. Jedediah has taken this literally, and I do mean at all costs, no matter how it makes him appear in the end. His grift has no boundaries and has become a sideshow to the point he has a restraining order against him. It's a trustee in Dolton who happens to be a shithead, but nonetheless, it's still another sideshow to an already very large circus. I was really trying to stay objective and keep my biased opinion out of what I was trying to convey, but the galactically stupid needs to be called out sometimes. Every time I hear some of these people talk, I am reminded of how my grandfather used to say, "Son, I'd rather be thought of as a fool than to open my mouth and to release all doubt." There's so much bullshit in this world. We need a straight shooter, not a straight up grifter. It's not their fault entirely because YouTube created this environment. They're just trying to survive in it. Immoral behavior in an already immoral environment is the norm. Now, if this is the new norm, then consider me not normal. Peace.